I love drawing because to me, drawing is the way that we communicate our design and our instructions to other people. But I don't love all drawing. What about you,
Mhm.
Ethan? What part of drawing do you like?
Well, uh, yeah, I like drawings too, and also same like you, I hate some part of it, right? So I love drawings because I can express, I can communicate, I can express from the biggest guy in uh, the projects, which is the client, to the workers, the smallest guy in the projects. I can sometimes I need to do technical sketch, different type of drawings, rendering, presentations, sketches. So, over time I develop a skills to present, and you know, I'm quite really satisfied or content with my skills and do the presentations and communication skills, which I like it. But there are sometimes, a lot of things like it's a very repetitive works, iterations, and it's time consuming. And although uh, the technology has been advancing, but still, I don't think the times I need to put it in to get good drawings, it doesn't change so much. And it's a skills. And yeah, sometimes I hate doing the drawings just because of the time issue. So some and also, for example, like being too good at the technicals and the regulations. I may need to take care of all the regulatory compliance. And if the boss assign me to for the regulatory compliance all the time, I'm unable to express as architecturally, because other dude in the office are doing all the funny stuff. I had to take care. Okay, are they comply? And yeah, that what I mentioned, like from the car parks to corridor, from the car park to corridor to the toilets, which the building authority usually look into it, and I make sure everything is aligned to the building code. So yeah, it's there are some love and hate relationship with the drawings and the sketchings. Yeah.
But you got to remember that without you doing that mundane technical work, that all the guys having fun won't be able to have fun because their building won't go ahead. You're a fundamental part of making that project come to life. I mean, I tell you a story. I worked on a shopping centre in London, or South. It was in Sutton, Surrey, and I forget how many there were. There was like 50 little shops, and the site
Mhm.
went slowly downhill. So the site sloped, and every shop had to have a fire exit, and every exit had to comply with the building code for stairs, for exit stairs. So you can imagine every shop had a different number of exit stairs and a different riser, and I had to do the whole lot. And at the time it seemed a little bit dull to do all of this stuff. But again, if you look back now, you say, but if it wasn't for me, if you didn't get the fire exit, if you didn't get the fire report, that building doesn't go ahead because you're a fundamental part of making sure that that works.
Yeah,
There was
yeah.
another part
So
where I was marking up contractors' drawings, and they'd send me the drawings, and they asked for our CAD files, so we gave them the CAD files. They then just repeated those back to us without actually putting all the structure that they needed. These are the ceiling drawings for the shopping centre, and they're supposed to design all the structure to support all of this fibrous plaster ceiling, and they didn't. So I put comments on their drawings, stamped them not for construction, and there was a lot of drawings. There were boxes of these drawings. There was just so many of these drawings. And I'd wear out felt tips marking up all these drawings. And so I did all the drawing, marked them all up, sent them away, get them back. They've just ignored everything I've done. That job I didn't enjoy because you're constantly fighting against people to get them to do what's their duty. Um, in the end, it turned into a rather tense site meeting where I told them all that they weren't doing their jobs, and I got told to back down. But
Mhm.
yeah, that's the sort of thing. But that sometimes you have to do those jobs when you're younger, so that you can do the good jobs later.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's how is it? How the life is, I believe.
Yeah, not everybody gets to do the really cool stuff. I used to hear stories in London where people had worked for 3 years for Richard Rogers, and all they'd done was to design the air conditioning ducts on the outside of a building. That's is that the great fun? I don't know. I don't know if you really learn a whole lot from that. Maybe you do.
Yeah, but another thing is, for example, like I in Singapore, some of my friends they work for architectural firms, and they're quite successful firms, and they became a design directors for design. So that means they sign off the design, right? Uh, but can they really draw? Actually, not because because we are very close friends. We talk very openly, and what we usually do is like just a sketch, just a concept. Like we as a design directors communicate. This is the way to communicate to the draft persons. The draft persons make it with a modern way of modern drafting tools such as maybe Maya or maybe other tools, and make it amazing and make better presentations. They call it generative or calculate algorithmic design or something like that,
Hmm.
which can be produced by Maya. So it was quite a trend, before the pandemic. I'm not very sure what the trends nowadays.
Oh, it's still
They
going
call it
on. Parametric
biomimicry or
design.
something like parametrics or biomimicries or something like that. The design grammar is there, so and also for example, design directors maybe say that okay, like try this iterations, try that iterations, and after that make the that thing. So yeah, for the young persons like a drafting things, for example, like myself, I may or may not have the final say. I may do some cool stuff. Yeah, but this is part of life. Sometimes love it or hate it. There are, for example, maybe that boys who is doing the, what's that, the design, what's that, they run the algorithms. So that's that kind of things. And maybe they hate it because every day his life is just doing the same thing, like when I'm doing the compliance and checking the code. But these are very important as well. Otherwise, the project will not run, the clients will not buy the design, the ideas, and after all, this is part of the architect's life or architectural technologist's life. Or somebody will take care of the code, somebody will take care of the compliance, right?
I mean, don't forget, Ethan. It's a team project. It's not a. It's not
Hmm.
a. You're not a rock star. You're a team. You're a team player,
Team member,
and we
yes.
need to do all. Somebody has to do all the jobs, and no one can do all the jobs. There has to be a lot of people that do the jobs. Um, so
Yeah.
it reminds me of that. Last week I had a conversation with Steve Skaysbrook, and he loves drawing, sketching details, going over technical details, following the detail. So he had a really good thing. The 6 parts of detailing: up,
Hmm.
down, left, right, forward, back, and following the detail through all of those 6 parts. And the way he does it is sometimes with computer technology using Follow Me
Hmm.
and SketchUp, but other times it's his paper. He gets his detail paper out, he sketches the detail, he puts another bit on top of it, sketches it again, and another bit. He loves that kind of sketching. And I really
Hmm.
understand that. I love doing those sketch details. Maybe drawing it and getting everything correct. It takes, it's a little bit laborious. The
Yeah.
person who gets to sketch those details is the person who is bringing the design to life. Because if you don't have if the details don't reflect the overall design concept, there's a mismatch between what people see close up and the overall form of the building. So to me, the detailing of a building is fundamentally part of the design, and you've got to make sure it's in sync with the overall. There was an English architect, Terry Farrell, I think it was. He designed the MI6 building, the one they use in James Bond. Now,
Yeah.
what his concept was that we experience design through our fingertips. So, in other words, we experience, I think maybe it was quality that we feel through our hands. So, you spend a lot of time worrying about the door handle and the escutcheon plate and the detail of the door. But when the building's 10 stories high, you don't worry so much about what's 10 stories up. No one can see it. So
Mm-hmm.
what you would find on his buildings was that there was a high level of detail on the lower floors. And as the buildings went up, the detailing got more simplistic, more crude,
Yeah.
I guess,
Yeah.
because you can't see it. You don't need fine details 10 stories up.
Mm-hmm.
But down at the basement where people are walking, you need to have great detailing, good quality detailing. It's where people are going to touch it. And I always think that we experience quality through our fingertips. You must have felt this before when you get someone's business card and you grab hold of it and you go, oh, that's nice. That's a quality piece of paper. And you pick up
Yeah.
other ones, you go, oh, this is cheap. They've just done it at the local, at the local photocopy place. It's not nice.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that that's part of this drawing that you're going through, is realizing that if you're doing that compliance stuff, you know, you might think that it's compliance and it's not important, but for that person who needs that wheelchair access, you have made a big difference to their life. And maybe that's all you need to think about is, I've only got to do this to satisfy one person and make that person's life better, and I've done my job,
Mm-hmm.
and you should feel
Yeah.
proud of doing that. I told you the job with the stairs, didn't I? The
Yeah, you did.
50 apart. So what was the next project they put me on? A 20-story building in Portugal. Guess which
Mm-hmm.
job I got?
Oh,
Stairs.
I know stairs.
So there's three
Uh,
buildings on this project: two
mm-hmm.
7-story buildings, one 20-story building, and 7 stories of underground car parking. My job was to resolve all of the stairs on all of these buildings. And it's tempting to say, "Oh man, I hate doing stairs." But actually, I mean, you were with me the other day when we were in Wellington,
Yeah.
and was I a little bit obsessive about the stairs and the handrails?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
You're very yeah, in the hotel.
yeah. And the hotels are, look at this terrible handrail. It's a terrible detail. This is awful. This is wrong.
Yeah.
Um, maybe the person who was drawing those stairs didn't like their job because they were
Mm-hmm.
awful. And I think that if you look at it from the point of view of why you're drawing, you're bringing this building to life, that every detail is important, and you should have fun drawing each of those details. And I think maybe, Ethan, if there are times where you don't enjoy it that day, but you look
Mm-hmm.
back and you say, I'm glad I did that. But if you went to work every day and you didn't enjoy architecture, or you didn't enjoy detailing or drawing, I think you've got to get a better job.
Yeah. Yeah. And by the way, when we talk about stairs, my last project in Singapore, it was there are a lot of stairs because it's like underground buildings from the top to the bottom is 60 meters from the surface to the surface of the earth to all the way down to the tunnel is 60 meters down. So that kind of things is the three shaft going down. So I had to take care of that's a lot of stairs.
Oh
And
yeah. Were
yeah,
they
but there
circular?
you know
Did they go round and
no
round?
Not circular, but not circular. But thing is, the building code is still building code. I need to make
Hmm.
sure the staircase, the rise in Singapore is 180. It must not be exceeding 180 height
In London, it
for
was
the rise. For the rise,
171.
yeah. Oh no, yeah. No, sorry, it's 175 in Singapore. 175. So I need to make
But,
sure no more than
but
175.
take a step back, though, Ethan. Look
Yeah,
at why is there a building code? There's a building code so that people will enjoy that, so that they won't find it awkward.
yeah. That's part I want to say because that these three shafts are designed as unmanned building, unmanned. But the building code is the building code. There is no separate building code for that, you know. So,
Mm.
uh,
So there are
so
stairs
another
for no one.
there are stairs for no one, and there are lift as well. Lift is not landing everywhere because it's unmanned building or just for the in case you need to go down, you will go maybe top mediums, maybe it will stop two in the middles, and then you are at the bottom already, and yeah, it's a power distributions. It's for the power distribution purpose. We the high what is it, extra high voltage cables will be running in the tunnel from the north to south, east to west, and the tunnel will be filled with that. And yeah, the shaft is for just for that, but there is no special building code uh, for that kind of purpose, right? So, and
Yeah, but you
it was
don't.
quite challenging.
But it's also, you don't know that no one's ever going to occupy it because you don't know what's going to happen in the future.
Yeah, so it was quite challenging because, for that because there are fire code as well as right? So there is no separate fire code for the buildings. Instead of going 60 meter upwards, this one is going down 60 meters downwards under the ground, and there is no we need to do. They will say, "Where is we can't?" There is no possibility to do windows underground. So how shall we do escape
Alternative
staircase?
solution.
So that kind of things. There are a lot of debate, and also that's for the national securities, and we want to make sure people can't go in and fire code say we must go in to do fire firefighting, so that kind of things. As an architect, we had to handle it. So sometimes there are, as I mentioned, love it or hate it. So when I look back, I'm very proud of it because it was successful. We can hand it over to the client, and the project was success. It's a design and build project. I'm handling all the design team. Yeah, uh, yeah, it was good. Yeah,
But let's
I'm
get
not.
back to the topic.
Yeah,
The topic is, when do you love
for the
drawing
drafting. Yeah,
and drafting, and when do you hate it?
yeah. So let's go back to the drawing. Is at the time I wasn't draw because over time the position's getting higher. So instead of myself drawings, that's how the life goes. I make sure my teams draw, but I also need to monitor it for the clashes and those things. So yeah, so somebody must do the job. So my teams, some will be high. I believe that when they listen to the podcast, they will be very proud of what the works they put it in for the successful of the projects. They are also a team member, right? That what you mentioned. Somebody must
Mm.
do the job to do the visuals, and it is successful. Maybe the building code are challenging, yeah, but we did it. So yeah, at that time it may be laborious, a lot of debate, but at the end it's a successful. So that's what I want to say
So,
about that.
well, there's a couple of things that you've reminded me of something. So I
Uh,
was reading something, I was listening to a podcast, and what they said was, don't wish the job were easier, wish that you were better.
mhm.
Because you always get on these big jobs. Oh, this is so hard. I wish it was easier. And the reality is that we're involved in a complex profession. There's a lot that we need to know. There's a lot we have to do. Most of our clients don't understand, um, you know, how tricky it is. I mean, that podcast we did the other day where you and I were
Mm-hmm.
talking about should we let the client know what we're doing and how complicated it is. There is a lot of complexity to this.
Yeah.
But if you instead of saying I wish it was easier, start thinking how could I be better? I wish I were better than this, more able, more study. And when we do those stair things and the building regs things, once you start learning all of that, it then starts to become easier for you to do it. So for example, you've got there's this building, and well, for example, let's go back to my building in Portugal. I just come off doing the stairs. I'm now doing more stairs, but now I'm more experienced, and now it's a lot quicker and easier for me to do those stairs.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned quite a lot. And when I walk around, as you know, I like to play with the handrails and touch things because it's that Terry Farrell thing. I touch the handrail to see how it feels. Cheap,
Mm-hmm.
flimsy handrails, they don't care, but good
Yeah.
quality, easy to use handrails. When people use those handrails, it's going to be an emergency. They're going to have to be good, solid handrails that work when you want them to. But those are my thoughts, Steve, Ethan. Is that we need to do those jobs sometimes because no one else will. That
Yeah.
yes, they're difficult, and yes, at the time they can seem laborious, but you need to take a little step back and say, you grew with that job, you were really important. The job doesn't go without you, and that each of those challenging things makes you better. If we're not challenged, if we don't challenge our students, we're not making them better. If we only
Mm-hmm.
ask our
Mm-hmm.
students to do what they're able to do, they'll never get their diploma.
Yeah. 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 Right. Okay.
They won't like us for it, Ethan.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Not now,
Yeah.
but later.
Later. Yeah. Yeah. They will be. They will say, "Oh, at that time, Jonathan said that. Ethan said that." Yeah, in their life. Mm.
Yeah, I had a
Right.
teacher at high school who was really hard on me, and every time
Mm-hmm.
I'd give him an answer to a question, he'd say why. So then I'd give him an answer, I'd say why, and he'd say how. And so I'd answer why and how, and he'd go when. And I could never
Mm-hmm.
make him happy. Didn't matter how hard I tried, he was never satisfied with what I did. And
Mm-hmm.
I used to hate him. He really did.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
then I went to university. Then I realized he taught me what I needed to know because university was easy after his classes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you can justify why, when, how.
Yeah. Yeah, he
Yeah.
wasn't he wasn't being horrible. He was preparing me for the
Mm-hmm.
future. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what we're doing with
Yeah.
our students. We have to prepare our students. And if it means teaching them skills that they don't want, well, I'm sorry, but I'm afraid that they will need those skills. It's
Mm-hmm.
interesting. I teach my students manual drafting. It's the first thing we do in drawing one is to teach manual drafting, how to hold a pencil, because some of them don't know how to hold a pencil, how to hold a T-square, how to do all that kind of stuff. But now they're using those skills in other classes, and it's
Mm-hmm.
really interesting now. You can actually start, after we're nearly finished the semester, and now you can have really in-depth conversations with them about construction, about
Mm-hmm.
design, about drawing a layout, about what they're
Mm-hmm.
trying to represent. Now it's got to the point now where it's fun to teach them because
Mm-hmm.
you're no longer trying to push those simple things. We're building on the simple skills and now having well, for some students we're having fun.
Yeah, that's good. That's good to know. Yeah.
Yeah. It would be interesting to think what the students think of when they listen to this and they say, which part of drawing don't you like? They might say all of it.
Well, they will, because this is something I mentioned, Ali, maybe a few podcasts ago. it is something they can bring home and show it to their parents or friends, and this is what I did. I can do it. So that's very, you can put it. Some people, they even put a draw, the house plan on elevations and put it on the wall as a decorations, right? So these are
Yeah,
very good skills.
they are good skills, and they, now we say we give them an assignment, and the assignment might be to draw a wall framing example,
Mhm.
and you see them. Oh, I'm going to draw wall framing. Okay, I've got to get the drawing board out. Got to get some paper, my T square, my set square, and they're enjoying. They may not think that,
Yeah,
but you can
yeah,
actually see them enjoying themselves because now you've taught them to communicate, and now they're using that skill to complete assignments by using
yeah.
that new skill of communication.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
to me, I love to draw because it's the way I communicate my design, how I communicate my instructions, and
Hmm.
I really enjoy it. And if you listen to Steve talk about his detail paper, he's talked about the universal language of drawing. You can draw it
Hmm.
for any language, and people will know what you mean.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's happened.
So
Yeah.
sorry to ramble on,
Hmm. All right.
but
I think,
what a great topic. Thanks, Ethan.
yeah. All right. Let's maybe see you next week.
Yep. See you next week.
Yeah. See you next week. Bye.